Hi Aries, welcome to a State of the Union or Reunion Twin Flames reading for February and March 2020. It's Raina here, and I think I was kind of a little bit influenced by calling it that because of the State of the Union, which happened yesterday in the United States. And the reason that I'm calling it this is because I did do several videos about twin flames for January and February, and I'm extending it to March for the ones I haven't done because it's just like a 2-month. I don't want to just make it for, I don't do these every month, so I just want to kind of extend it for the future. And I had a spread that I had gotten from some website, but it was hard to read, so I just kind of designed one for myself, and that's why I have that name. So I'll put out the cards and I'll show you or tell you what each represents when I have gotten there. And it's funny because my particular situation with my camera, it fell over, so I'm just like having it lean against my table, so it's very up close. I don't want to bother with it. I just want to be able to get through this reading, although you're not going to see the two bottom cards. I'll fix it later, and I'll hold up the cards anyway, so you'll be able to see them eventually. Okay. So the first card represents the state of the union now between the two of you. This is the Five of Wands. I said state of the union or reunion, so some people may be with someone or they're hoping to get back together with their twin flame. Twin flame. I said flames. The problem is with twin flames, not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but as I understand, there can sometimes be these fiery or dramatic types of relationships and separations, reunions, and so on and so forth. And each person may go through a period of time when they want to be separate from this situation, and the other person has to be understanding. So with the Five of Wands as the central theme here of what's going on, it could represent that there is some sort of conflict. And so if you are together with the person, you may be finding that you cannot seem to get along. You are always going at it, and there can sometimes be like a competitive streak between the two of you. Now this could be on your side, Aries, because you are naturally a very competitive person, and if you're with somebody who you feel is doing better than you in their career, that might make you feel like you have to be number one again. The ruler of the first house sometimes can just get into that mentality, or they may find fault with everything that you say and do. So whatever it is, there's a lack of harmony perhaps, and if you're not with the person, you're just not seeing eye to eye to even get back together. Now remember that, I'm talking about for me, from what I understand, twin flames are supposed to the purpose is for them to come together to help humanity. So the fact that there can be some bumps in the road before this happens is just part of the journey. And yet there may be a strong desire to kind of rejoin this person, even if you're separated from them. How you got here? Okay, so how did you get to this point? The King of Pentacles. Again, one person may be financially doing very well, in a position of some sort of power, where they have, maybe even having their own business, but there's something where they feel this sense of autonomy and power when it comes to physical resources. And so if this is the other party, they might feel like, or you might feel, it might trigger something inside of you that feels resentful of this, that feels like, oh, they have, treating it like it has some kind of reflection on you, and what have you. But also, this could be, because I hear in some cases that with twin flames, that other person or you might get involved with a third party, and this is just part of that journey in terms of the relationship. I've had people tell me, oh, my twin flame is with somebody else, and they're just kind of saying that matter-of-factly as if it's par for the course. So maybe this is a person who provides them more financial stability, and that's why they're with them. It could be an older person, it could be even like a father figure, that this person is looking to the King of Pentacles to give them a sense of stability in their life, financial security, and this may even be the father of their child, and that's why they are gravitating towards this person, because they're looking for something solid. Aries people I feel like Aries people tend to do very well financially, simply because they are very aggressive. They go after what they want, and they're not sitting back and waiting for things to happen. They're very proactive, and they're very generous. You're very generous. And so I feel like generous people attract money, attract wealth. Not just because they're doing something good, but because they really do think that there's more where that came from. They're not like stingy. They're not contracted. They're very out there with their resources. So I feel like those kinds of people attract that to them. And as a result, that can lead to a situation where you may be dealing with a third party. And because of what I was getting at is that even though I feel that about you, you may still have a lot of you may have a tendency to be very rash when it comes to money issues, where you're a little bit too premature. You kind of like, I don't know, do things without thinking. You're too hasty. Maybe money slips through your fingers if you aren't careful, because you just are a spendthrift and you are impulsive. That was the word I was looking for. So this person may appear to be more financially grounded and, like financially stable. Not that you don't have that earning power, but that might be one of the reasons that you have been fighting, is that you argue over, how to spend money, like what's the appropriate way. Especially, I was going to say, if you're an Aries and your twin flame is like a Cancer or a Capricorn, then that would certainly be a biggie. That would certainly happen. So anyway, it might be, and you know what? You don't want to fight over money because you think that that's petty. But that could simply be what the other person, because we have like a lot of pentacles here. We have this, and this. So there might be like, the money issue may be kind of the outer thing that is keeping the two of you at each other's throat, but it's kind of symbolizing what's really going on. So you might think that it's about money, but it's really about something more than that. The spiritual message for this particular situation, this conflict, is the Four of Pentacles. So this is a card of, you see the person holding on to their money. Now, just to review, Pentacles relate to money, to work matters, to practical things. So it could be your possessions. And it also relates to earth signs. The Four of Pentacles as a spiritual lesson, because we're talking about mundane resources, is that in terms of holding on to them, is that, it could be two-sided. It can either be that this other person is too attached to their possessions, and they are not as generous as you are, and so they perceive your behavior as a threat, and then they create a conflict because of their fears. Or it could be saying that you're not managing your money in a responsible way, that you're being too careless, perhaps in some way. But in the spiritual sense, in other words, it's not about differentiating the two. In other words, even if you consider yourself on the spiritual path, being able to handle material resources can have an effect that has nothing to do with the actual material level. So in other words, we can say this about a lot of things, that the spiritual, as above, so below, as below, so above, So being generous is a spiritual value. Being careless or disrespectful of money disrespects the energy that went behind earning the money. So it's not about like saying, and excusing it and saying it's just money or something like that. No, it's energy, and it should be respected. And also, your partner's views should be respected. If you don't personally care about money, that's one thing. But if that other person does, that should be good enough for you. Okay. Because that really kind of points to a lot of what goes wrong in relationships too, is a lack of understanding of what the other person is dealing with. So the obstacles that may be going on, the Nine of Pentacles, this is a card of financial independence. How can that be an obstacle? Well, it can be an obstacle if somebody thinks that this makes them truly autonomous. Again, this may not be you, but you may be dealing with somebody who is excessively concerned about money. And therefore, as long as they have enough of it, they may feel like, hey, I don't have to be with this person. So they may be like doing their own thing. You might be separated and they don't care. Or if you're with the person and all they care about is perhaps being able to live alone and have their own, and take care of themselves. They're just really absorbed in their own world in doing things like this. Now, the other thing too is that if you are a person who is not being financially responsible and you have gotten to the point where you need somebody else's income in order to support yourself, or if you've been with this person for a long time and you've never had the kind of income to be able to support yourself, then it's very important that you acknowledge that this is a need for you to change this about yourself, that you need to get to a place where you're able to be self-sufficient, so that whether or not you're with your twin flame, you're not forced to be there. That's the bottom line. Because again, a twin flame situation, this may be a very important karmic relationship, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be dealing with this person in this lifetime, 24/7. You may not even be together with them. I've read material that suggests, there are lifetimes where the two people are not together and they're still going about their lives and they're doing different things, but they know that the reuniting is very important. So it's like this reading is unusual in that there's a great emphasis on the material. And this is the kind of union that's supposed to be so spiritual. So it may seem confusing, like, why is this happening? But the reason is because there's no separation of the two. The material and the spiritual both are important in terms of, how you navigate through your life, with this balanced perspective. The energy coming in is the Five of Cups. This is mourning the loss of something. Again, I'm looking at this as, dealing with those other cards and the conflict. And, I think this is more like understanding the limitations of what you're up against. And if you are somebody who has been wanting to be with your twin flame, but it seems like you can't get it together, the other person is combative, maybe they are with somebody else, and you feel the sense of like futility, that this card may represent that. But remember, once again, that time is an illusion. And so when you're meant to be with somebody, there's nothing that can stop that. But when you're trying to force it, which sometimes Aries people have to say, you guys, that you tend to force things. And because of that, that can lead to a certain tendency to have things not go the way that you want them to, because you're doing it prematurely. And also maybe not, like the Five of Cups, really feeling your feelings when they happen to be a bit downtrodden, when you feel like things are against you. It's just really coming to grips with a situation. And the outcome, guess what? This is like, couldn't be more different. So I know there's a reason for it. It's the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. So how do I go from Five of Cups to Nine of Cups? Well, I'll tell you. There may be a situation where you can, become at peace with the current situation of your twin flame. In this particular reading, it sounds like you're at a point where both of you may be in different spaces, and you will come to realize that this is okay, that this is part of the plan, and you will actually be happy because you're getting what you want. This is not to suggest that in some cases a twin flames relationship is not going to work. In this lifetime, because with the Five of Wands, there may be conflicts, but it may be due to two strong personalities, two strong egos that are going after one another. And perhaps if you're able to agree upon something, and it's probably going to be something material because of the Pentacles, you're able to make peace with the situation. Five of Cups, mourning the loss of something, but still there's a silver lining in those two cups. And that's interesting because in the tarot, the Two of Cups is reunion. So you may not see it if you're not getting along. You may not see that there's even a possibility that you can get back with this person. I'm even wondering if this is a divorce situation. If you feel like you're with somebody, like if your spouse is your twin flame and you're getting a divorce, Aries, this could suggest that eventually you're going to get what you want. It's just that this had to play itself out. So the material fighting, the fighting over material things, which you may find grotesque, is all part of the plan. You know what's funny? I'm thinking about a couple. I mean, I don't mean it's funny, hilarious, but I know a long-term couple that I never in a million years would have thought would have marital troubles, let alone are in the process of getting divorced. I'm talking about since high school. These people have been together decades. And I was just asking my partner about the situation, and he was saying that right now they're fighting about money. And so it's kind of weird because it's almost like this. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're twin flames, because I really thought they were soulmates, you know what I mean? I thought that they were going to be together forever. So my feeling is with that situation is that they may need to be apart for growth, for individual growth, because they were together since they were very, very young. And this may be, you know, a catalyst for them to see themselves in their own right instead of as a couple. And so to the outside world, it may look like a tragedy. It may look like, why? But it may be very important for them. And they may be either soulmates or twin flames. And it just so happens that they had to do this for their own self-growth. Okay, and so that's what I'm saying. When I'm talking about the Five of Cups and I'm talking about mourning the loss of something, it's really about mourning the loss of a dream, but it doesn't mean that it's something that is etched in stone and permanent throughout every lifetime. It might just be at this moment in time because your soul or their soul needs more expansion and the relationship is not providing enough growth at this time. So it's all the way that you perceive something. You can always perceive something as a positive. And with the Nine of Cups, there's a feeling of getting something that you want out of the situation. So in any case, I hope that this made sense to some of you. If you'd like a private reading, like a love reading or a natal chart interpretation, please follow the link below. Have a great month, or actually a couple of months. Take care. Bye.